Boy, so from peak bulk to peak cut, I got absolutely ripped. This is me at 205 pounds. This is me at 172 pounds, around 10% body fat, feeling the most lean I've ever been in my entire life. And I'm going to get right into it for you. So just to give you a bit of a timeline of what this actually looked like. Started out, this is me in May 2024 at the start. This is 1 month in at 190. So I did lose 15 pounds my first month, which is pretty typical when you start a cut, especially when you start from peak bulk. You're going to lose a lot of water, a lot of waste in your stomach. It's all going to clear out. And I also did probably lose about 7 pounds of body fat in this first month just because of how drastically I dropped my calories. I was eating like 3,500 calories a day, dropped that down to 1,800 calories a day. So that caused a big impact. And then from month 1 to month 2, the weight loss slows down, but still pretty good at 7 pounds a month. Then from month 2 to month 3, it slows down a bit more, only lost 4 pounds in this month. And then I went on vacation, ate a little bit more food, and I made a few mistakes that I'll talk about later in this video. And then going into month 4, 178 pounds, and then finishing the cut at month 5 at 172 pounds, leanest I've ever been in my life. And this is the plan that I use. So I started out at 1,800 calories a day. I was eating 200 plus grams of protein per day. I was lifting 4 to 5 times a week, and I was doing kickboxing 1 to 2 times per week, and probably throwing in like playing a little bit of basketball, but it wasn't really part of my plan. That's just something I like to do for fun, and getting, pretty decent sleep, 7.5 to 8.5 hours of sleep. And now, the way I stuck to the diet's where most people fall off. So how I stuck to 1,800 calories a day at 205 pounds at the start, at 5'11". Number 1 was defeating hunger. So I'm a former fat kid for a reason. I get hungry very easily, and it's probably my biggest struggle when I'm cutting. So there's 3 things I implement in order to deter the hunger. So firstly, accepting hunger is a normal sign of the cut, right? I'm not sitting here freaking out that I'm hungry, thinking, oh, this is such a bad sign. Oh, I can't do this. Like, no. Understand that when you're hungry, that's your body telling you you need to eat food. We're using body fat as energy right now. We need to consume food because we're not used to using body fat as energy. But your body fat is there for energy, right? So hunger isn't a bad thing. It's only an indication that the cut is working. And secondly, I ate a ton of low-calorie, physically big foods. So foods like grilled chicken breast, foods like watermelon, foods like strawberries, blueberries. As you see in the third one, diet soda, that's an option for me. So a lot of fruits, potatoes as well, that's a good option for me. 93% lean ground beef, 93% lean ground turkey, sirloin tip steak. And then there's some even more like diet options like Greek yogurt. There's some pretty lean Greek yogurt in a sense, like 60 calories for 12 grams of protein, like the Chobani Zero Sugar Greek yogurt. There's a ton of different options, but my premise was choosing foods that were very physically big, foods that were really going to fill me up, but were calorically sparse, meaning they were sparse in calories. There's not a lot of calories for how big the thing I'm eating is. And then also, I talk about how I ate high protein, but also eating protein is a solution to defeating hunger because high protein foods, or just protein in general, is a natural appetite suppressant in a sense. It keeps you the most full as opposed to foods that are high in carbs and foods that are high in fat. Protein keeps you the most full out of the other, as opposed to the other 2 macronutrients. So, and then third was drinking diet soda and coffee. Caffeine in itself is a natural appetite suppressant. So if you can drink that, not only is the caffeine going to naturally suppress your appetite, but it's also going to keep you focused on whatever task you're doing, which is going to make it easier not to think about food or not to be thinking about the meals you're having later. It's just, no, let me focus on this task. It makes things a lot more seamless. And number 2, crushing the protein goal. So the way I stuck to the protein goal was first centering every meal I had around a lean meat. My go-to options were primarily grilled chicken breast. That's the leanest one. Like only 100 calories of grilled chicken breast is 4 ounces, and it's 22 grams of protein. So think about 4 ounces. That's about this much chicken breast. Multiply that by 4. You could have a pound of grilled chicken breast. This is something I had pretty often when I was cutting. Having like a pound of grilled chicken breast for lunch or for dinner. 88 grams of protein and only 400 calories. And then I put on my low-calorie toppings like sugar-free ketchup, buffalo sauce, things like that. Just make it so much easier to stick to the cut. And then secondly, primarily snacking on protein sources. So like my protein bars, protein shakes, protein peanut butter, anything with protein powder. Like you can mix protein powder with Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt's a great option. There's a lot of protein supplements nowadays. They have like protein pastries, protein donuts. So anytime I was hungry, obviously sometimes I'd grab some vegetables. I had some fruit. But most of the time it was a protein source. Like I was saying, Greek yogurt, protein bars, protein shakes. Those were like my typical option. And then thirdly, getting into a good rhythm and just staying consistent with it. Like human beings are creatures of habit. When you stick to a routine, when you have a routine that gets results and you stick to it, it almost becomes second nature to you. It does become second nature to you in a sense. And that was something that was helpful for me. Whereas like once I understood what it took for me to get over 200 grams of protein every single day, I just stuck to that. Initially it's hard, but then you, like I said, you get into a good rhythm with it. And then it's just like second nature. It's like, oh, I have this for breakfast. I have this as a snack in between breakfast and lunch. And then I have this for lunch. And then I have a couple snacks before dinner. And then I have dinner. And maybe I have this after dinner, right? Like it's all, it all comes together and it all flows. And then there was one mistake I made, and this is probably the most valuable part of the video right here, because a lot of people make this mistake. A lot of people ask me questions about this, and it's something that really threw me off, but I learned a lot from it. And that was scheduling in cheat days. This significantly hurt my mental health, and it made it significantly harder to stay consistent. And the reason I implemented cheat days was because after about 2 months, so I was down maybe like, what was it, 20 pounds or so since I started. After about 2 months, the cravings started coming in a lot harder. It just came in a lot heightened. Now, I don't naturally crave like junk food, but I was just craving more food, right? Like usually when I'd have a cheat day, it wasn't me just eating a bunch of crap like pizza, ice cream. It was me eating like the same foods, but it was just like a lot of food. And the reason I implemented it was because cravings started to get heightened. Cravings were hitting harder. And I saw some other fitness coaches talking about how if you have one day where you just kind of let loose, you take a break, you relax, you're not that strict on your diet, then the other 6 days of the week make it much easier. And you're a lot more consistent, and it just makes the whole process easier. So that's what I thought going into it. And then the way I implemented this was saying every Sunday I got to eat 3,000 calories instead of the normal 1,800 to 2,000 calories. It started off as 1,800, and I increased it a bit to 2,000. And what ended up happening was I tended to overeat significantly because it was a cheat day. So at the start, maybe I'd stick to the 3,000, but then after a few cheat days, I was like, you know what? It's a cheat day anyways. I'm going to stay consistent with the diet for the rest of the days of the week. It's not that big of a deal. Let me just have 4,000 calories. Let me have 5,000 calories. And this really messed with me. The next few days, I just felt horrible. So if I had that let's say 4,500 calorie day on Sunday, I would be bloated all of Monday. My progress would be set back on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, things would start to get better, but it just felt horrible. It felt like I was like forcing myself to do something I didn't want to do. And it sabotaged my progress significantly, which made me stay in this horrible state of mind. Like I was saying, after I'd have the cheat day on Sunday, I would feel guilty. Monday would just suck because I'd be all bloated. And then Tuesday, I'd still kind of be bloated. And I'd notice the little bit of wateriness I looked on my body, because when you eat that much food, all of a sudden your body just holds more water. So my physique didn't look as sharp. I didn't see the progress from the work I was putting in. And this is a big struggle. This is a big problem, because one of the things that makes cutting significantly easier is seeing the progress, right? You can't focus on the progress. You can't say, oh, I'm only going to stay consistent if I see the progress. But after you pass like the 8-week threshold, progress starts to become a lot more consistent, where it's like each and every workout, each and every day you stay consistent, you start to see a little bit more definition. Maybe you lose 0.5 pounds, right? It just starts to stack up, and it like encourages you to stick to the plan each and every day. But when I'm having a cheat day, I'm basically having the cheat day and then spending half my week recovering from the cheat day and just having to not focus at all on the setback that I caused myself to endure, right? Like Monday, if I have my cheat day on Sunday, like I was saying, Monday's going to suck. I'm going to be bloated. My weight's going to spike up. I'm going to look all watery, and that's only going to be solved around Thursday. So that's the majority of the week, or at least half the week, that's just spent miserable. When cutting is already hard, now I have to deal with not even seeing any progress whatsoever, and it sucks. And what I learned is that abstinence, meaning abstaining, meaning staying consistent to one thing, is easier than moderation. So I learned that staying to one calorie count, sticking to one calorie limit each and every day, no matter if it's a Sunday, Saturday, Monday, weekday, it doesn't matter, holiday, sticking to one calorie count made things way easier than moderation, than saying, oh, maybe sometimes I can have it. Because what starts to happen is you start craving the cheat days so much more. And what happened was I was doing the cheat days. I was getting in this back and forth rhythm where I would stay consistent. I would be hyped because I'm seeing the progress, and then I'd have a cheat day because I'm convincing myself that it's going to help me. And that was truly the reason behind it, by the way. Like, it wasn't like I was letting myself go. Like, I truly believe this would help me in the long run. So I'd have this cheat day. I'd spent half the week feeling guilty and feeling fat and just feeling mad and angry and just in a pissy mood. And then the other 3 days of the week, I would feel like, okay, I'm starting to see the progress again. But it was just this back and forth that was miserable. And what had happened is I was just like, this is enough. I don't need to do cheat days. I've stuck to a cut consistently in the past without doing any cheat days, and the cheat days are messing with my head. They're making self-sabotage. They're just ruining my mood, ruining my days. I'm going to stick to 1 calorie count, and I did raise my calories up a little bit just so it'd be easier to stick to each and every day. So I went from eating like 2,000 to like 2,100, 2,200 calories a day, and it was so much easier. It was so much easier, not even just because I increased the calories, but just because I was consistent. Just because I didn't have to stick to 2 different sets of rules depending on the day. It was just like, no matter what day it is, I'm sticking to this. And I just built that routine and I stayed consistent with it. And it was easier to stick to that than saying, oh, well, sometimes I can go over my calories a bunch. Some days I can no. Abstinence is easier than moderation. And the thing is cheat meals make sense in theory, right? It's like, oh yeah, if I have 5,000 calories where, I can just do whatever I want, then, the majority of the time it's going to be easier. It doesn't work like that. In practice, when you're actually doing the cheat days, it makes life miserable. It truly does. It's so much easier to just stick to 1 persona, 1 identity, 1 set of rules for yourself, 1 set of standards. Stick to 1 and stick to that. We are creatures of habit. We need consistency. And this is by far the biggest mistake for me. But once I switched to just sticking to 1 calorie count every single day, everything became 10 times easier because I was seeing progress almost every single day. And if I didn't, I still knew that the next day I was going to see progress. I didn't have to wake up in the morning and knew that I just ruined my progress the night before and it's going to take me 3 days before I see progress again. It screwed with my head when I was doing cheat days, but once I cut them out, it made things 10 times easier. And so I hope you guys found this video valuable because I just spelled everything I did on my last cut, like literally every single thing I did each and every day and all the mistakes I made and how you can learn from them. But if you want to take action, if you actually, want to get down to 10% body fat, but you don't really have a clear strategy for you don't have a clear custom timeline for you. I see this with a lot of guys. They're like, I eat healthy, or even I track my food, but I don't really know how many calories to eat. I don't know what workout routine to follow. I don't have this clear guidelines that I have to stick to each and every day that gives me X result, that gets me ripped. Right? A lot of guys don't have that. And a lot of guys also don't have that timeline, like I said in the second paragraph here. A lot of people don't have this timeline that tells them, okay, in 1 month I'll be here, in 2 months I'll be here, in 3 months I'll be here, and then I'll be at my goal in however long. A lot of guys are just cutting perpetually, hoping that they get lean enough and then randomly deciding to end the cut. No, you need a clear strategy, a clear timeline. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'm the owner of Better Lifestyle 365. This is my full transformation you see right here. You can book a call with me. I put a Calendly link in every single video, in the description of every single video. So if you want to talk with me personally, I'll build a game plan for you. We'll talk it out. I'll get a sense of where you're at in your journey and some of the things that have been holding you back specifically. And then I'll help you build that game plan so we can get you ripped. I'm super confident in what I do. You can check my client testimonials on my Instagram at Better Lifestyle 365. It's the first website in the description. And basically we'll talk it out, but don't book a call with me if you're not really serious about coaching and you just kind of want a quick tip, or you're not really that serious about getting these results. I only work with guys who are dedicated and serious about getting this goal. Like, it's a non-negotiable. They have to get this goal. They can't even picture their future life without having this goal, but they're stuck. They don't really have that clear direction, and they need that motivation, that accountability, but also having that clear, smart game plan in place. So if that's you, book a call with me. We'll talk it out. We'll get you ripped. We'll get you a good game plan that you can trust and that you're confident in. But in the meantime, if you want to follow me on Instagram at Better Lifestyle 365, I post my daily morning push-ups. Today was actually officially 1 year of doing 50 morning push-ups every single morning. You can click the link in the description, or you can look me up at Better Lifestyle 365. I post a lot of good value on there too. But on here, like, subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, drop a comment. I'll answer any questions you guys have for me. And I love you guys. Peace out. See you later.